On my daughter's birth, my husband looked me in the eye and said, "She's not mine and I don't want either of you." He walked out without looking back. Years later, he showed up at my door begging for forgiveness because, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Your support helps us bring more content that makes a difference. Click that subscribe button, hit the like, and share our journey with your friends and family to spread the message of resilience and integrity. Now, let's go to the story. It's hard to forget the day your entire world falls apart. I was lying there in the hospital bed, holding our newborn daughter, Victoria, in my arms. The joy of becoming a mother was overwhelming, and I was eagerly waiting for Samuel to hold her for the first time. Instead, he stood at the doorway, his face devoid of the joy I had anticipated. "Harper," he began hesitantly, not stepping closer. His voice was cold, distant. "I can't do this." Confused, I adjusted Victoria in my arms and looked up at him. "What do you mean you can't do this?" "Samuel, come and hold your daughter." He shook his head, pain, and something darker crossing his features. "That's not my child, Harper. Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about." My heart raced, and I felt a chill despite the warmth of our daughter in my arms. "Samuel, I don't understand. Why would you say something like that?" His next words were a blow I hadn't seen coming. "I know about the affair, Harper. You think I wouldn't find out? That child isn't mine." The accusation was absurd, baseless, and it tore through me like a knife. "There is no affair. How could you even say that? She is your daughter." But Samuel didn't waver. "I've seen the messages, the photos. Don't deny it. I can't raise another man's child." With those final words, he turned and walked away, leaving the hospital and our lives without a second glance back. The hours after he left were a blur. Nurses came and went, and friends and family visited, their faces etched with concern and confusion. No one understood Samuel's abrupt departure, and I had no real answers to give. His accusations were not only hurtful, but mystifying. I had never been unfaithful, yet he was convinced otherwise. As the reality of raising Victoria alone set in, my initial shock turned to anger and then to a deep, pervasive sadness. How could the man I loved, the man I trusted my life with, believe such lies? Was his love so conditional, so easily swayed by falsehoods? The days turned into weeks, and I was left to navigate the sleepless nights and endless days of early motherhood without him. The joy of Victoria's first smile, her first laugh, all were overshadowed by the absence of her father. And while my heart ached for her, for the family we were supposed to be, I knew I had to be strong. For her, I had to rebuild our lives, even if it meant doing it alone. With each passing day, my resolve hardened. I would prove Samuel wrong. I would ensure that Victoria knew she was loved, that she was wanted, despite the heartbreaking circumstances of her father's departure. This betrayal would not define us. I wouldn't allow it to. As I cradled Victoria at night, watching her sleep peacefully, a plan began to form. I would go back to work, climb the career ladder, provide for her everything she ever needed. She would grow up knowing her worth, knowing that her mother fought for her right to happiness and respect. In those early days, filled with challenges and setbacks, our bond only grew stronger. Victoria became my beacon, my reason to push through the hardship. And though the pain of Samuel's betrayal lingered, it also fueled my determination. He had left us, but we would not just survive. We would thrive. The resolve to rebuild my life from the ashes of betrayal became my driving force. As I returned to work, I was more determined than ever to create a stable and fulfilling life for Victoria and myself. The world of consulting, with its demands and challenges, proved to be both a distraction and a pathway to regain my sense of self-worth. My colleagues, some of whom had heard whispers of my personal plight, extended their support in ways that went beyond professional courtesy. Their kindness was a balm, and slowly I began to find joy in my work again. Each successful project not only rebuilt my clients' businesses, but also mended parts of me that had been broken by Samuel's departure. Meanwhile, Victoria was growing into a brilliant and resilient young girl. Her curiosity and joyful spirit were evident in everything she did, from her eagerness to learn new words to her delight in exploring the world around her. Watching her thrive under the love and support of our tight-knit circle of friends and family filled me with pride and a sense of accomplishment. I enrolled Victoria in a local preschool, where she quickly became a favorite among her peers and teachers. Her ability to adapt and flourish, even without her father's presence, reassured me that we were on the right path. Her smiles and the stories she brought home each day were my greatest rewards. As the years passed, the wounds of the past began to heal, transformed by the life we were building together. My network of support grew, not just socially, but also professionally. I was promoted to a senior consulting position, recognition of the hard work and results I had delivered. This success allowed me to provide a better life for Victoria, one filled with opportunities I had only dreamed of giving her. Despite the betrayal, I taught Victoria the importance of forgiveness and resilience. I wanted her to understand that, while we can't control the actions of others, we can choose how to respond. We can let the pain define us, or we can rise above it, learn from it, and move forward. Together, we transformed our small apartment into a warm home filled with laughter and love. I took joy in decorating each room, making it a reflection of our journey and the new life we were creating. Our home became a sanctuary, a place where we could both feel safe and loved. Our routine was simple but fulfilling. Mornings were rushed, with breakfast and school runs, evenings filled with homework and stories, and weekends spent exploring parks and museums. Through it all, Victoria's presence was a constant reminder of why every struggle was worth it. I also found solace in writing. I started a blog to share our journey, connecting with other single parents facing similar challenges. Sharing our story helped me process my emotions and, surprisingly, helped others too. The blog grew, and soon I was receiving messages from readers all over the world thanking me for giving them hope and strength. Through hard work and relentless determination, Victoria and I didn't just survive, we thrived. Our life, though different from the one I had planned, was full of love, success, and the promise of new beginnings. With each day, we were rebuilding from scratch, proving to ourselves and to the world that from the deepest pain could come incredible strength and joy. As the years unfolded, the challenges of raising Victoria alone did not diminish my resolve, but rather sharpened my focus and determination. My career in consulting was more than a job. It was a mission. I knew that every late night, every project completed, and every client satisfied directly contributed to the life and opportunities I could provide for Victoria. She was my little star, not just at home, but in every arena she entered. At school, Victoria shone brightly, her report cards a testament to her intellect and dedication. Her teachers often told me, "Harper, she's not just smart, she's a leader." And I swelled with pride knowing her spirit was unbroken by the hardships we had faced. My own journey wasn't without its hurdles. The consulting world is tough, dominated by those who can often sacrifice everything for success. But I had a clear line I wouldn't cross. I was doing this for Victoria, to show her that success can be achieved with integrity. Promotions came, and with each one, I found myself in rooms making decisions, my voice becoming influential in shaping the policies that affected not just our company but our clients' businesses across the globe. As I climbed the corporate ladder, I ensured that my success translated into better opportunities for Victoria. Private tutors, the best schools, sports, music lessons. Nothing was too much if it meant giving her the tools she would need to succeed on her own terms. Her academic prowess was matched by her athletic skills. Swimming and track became her passions, and she competed with a fierce determination that reminded me so much of myself. I attended every meet, every race, cheering the loudest, always there in the front row. Her victories were our victories, each medal a symbol of our joint struggles and triumphs. Our life was a series of structured routines and milestones. Each promotion I received was celebrated with a small ritual. Dinner at her favorite restaurant, just the two of us, talking about dreams, the future, and the many ways we could change the world. I remember one evening, as we walked home under the starlit sky after celebrating my appointment as a director, Victoria squeezed my hand and said, "Mom, you're my hero. I'm going to be just like you, but even better." Her words were a balm to the scars left by Samuel's departure. They reaffirmed my decisions and the path I had chosen. "You'll be better than me," I replied, my heart full. "You'll be your own kind of wonderful." The synergy between my professional growth and her academic and athletic successes painted a picture of a future brimming with potential. We were not just surviving. We were thriving, pushing against the odds to mold a reality that was ours alone. Networking became a significant part of my life as I connected with other professionals. These connections weren't just for career advancement, but for mentorship, both giving and receiving advice that would help us navigate our respective paths. It was during one such networking event that I met Helen, a fellow single mother who became a close friend and confidant. Our experiences and aspirations were similar, and our friendship became one of the pillars of my support system. Meanwhile, Victoria's academic accolades continued to accumulate. Her name appeared regularly on honor rolls, and she was selected to represent her school at national academic forums. Her essays won awards, and her science projects were often displayed as examples of exemplary work. I documented our journey, the lessons learned, and the joy of small victories in a series of blog posts that resonated with single parents worldwide. Our story was not just about overcoming a betrayal, but about laying a foundation for future successes and breaking the stereotypes often associated with single-parent households. As Victoria approached the end of her high school years, the fruits of our labors began to manifest. She was offered scholarships from several prestigious universities, each acknowledgement a testament to her hard work and the environment we had cultivated together. Looking back at the path we had traversed, from the painful departure of Samuel to the heights we were reaching, filled me with a profound sense of achievement. The journey had taught us both about resilience, the importance of ethics, and the undeniable power of dedication and love. 15 years had passed since Samuel walked out of our lives, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak and unanswered questions. Victoria had grown into a formidable young woman, her future bright with promise. I had risen to a senior executive position, my influence and reputation solidified in the consulting world. We had built a life full of achievement and fulfillment, a life I once thought impossible without Samuel. One chilly autumn evening, as we were celebrating one of Victoria's academic awards, there was a knock at the door that would once again change the course of our lives. I opened it to find a man who resembled a ghost from my past, Samuel. He was thinner, his features drawn and tired, a stark contrast to the vibrant man I once knew. The shock of seeing him on our doorstep rendered me speechless. "Harper, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I hesitated, memories of pain and betrayal flooding back, but the look in his eyes, a mix of desperation and fear, prompted me to step aside and let him in. Victoria, who had only seen pictures of her father, stood frozen, her expression one of curiosity and caution. Samuel took a seat, his hands trembling as he began to speak. "I know I have no right to ask for anything, not after everything I've done. But I'm here because I am dying." The words hung heavy in the air, but it was his next confession that shattered the fragile calm. I was manipulated, Harper. Everything I believed, the accusations against you, they were all lies orchestrated by my mother, Margaret. He explained how Margaret, driven by her disdain for me and her obsessive control over him, had presented him with forged evidence of infidelity. Consumed by his mother's approval and deceived by her lies, he had acted without seeking the truth. Harper, I am so sorry. I've lived with this guilt every day, and now that I'm facing the end, I needed to come clean, to tell you and Victoria the truth. The revelation was a lot to process. The pain of the past mingled with the shock of his illness. Victoria, ever the pillar of strength, approached Samuel. "Why should we believe you now?" she asked, her voice steady, but filled with the weight of years spent without a father. Samuel reached into his bag, pulling out documents and photos, evidence of Margaret's deceit and manipulation. It was overwhelming, seeing the extent of the betrayal laid out before us. He had been a pawn in his own mother's game, and we were the collateral damage. As we talked, I saw the man I once loved, broken and seeking redemption. The anger I had, harbored for years, began to dissolve, replaced by a profound sadness for what could have been. Samuel's return did not bring the promise of a restored relationship. It brought closure and a chance for healing. The following weeks were a whirlwind as we navigated the complexities of this new reality. Samuel's health deteriorated rapidly, but he spent his remaining days trying to make amends, to connect with the daughter he had never known, Victoria. With a maturity beyond her years, listened to her father's stories, his regrets, and his dreams for her. She forgave him, not for his sake, but for her own peace. Together, we supported him through his final days, finding solace in the fact that he had come clean, that the truth had finally surfaced. Samuel's death was a quiet one, and in its wake, we were left to ponder the impact of secrets and lies. But his return had given us something invaluable: the truth. It freed us from the shadows of doubt and deceit that had lingered for too long. With the truth revealed, we could now move forward, our path a little clearer, our bond strengthened by the trials we had overcome. The past could never be changed, but the future was ours to shape. As we stood together, mother and daughter, we knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them united, with honesty and integrity. In the wake of Samuel's passing, Victoria and I found ourselves grappling with a legacy of deception far larger than the personal grievances and betrayals we had endured. The documents Samuel left behind painted a grim picture of corporate espionage and manipulation orchestrated by Margaret, his mother, who had not only controlled her son, but had her tendrils deeply embedded in the operations of Davidson Corporation. As the reality of Margaret's machinations came to light, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was not just about clearing my name or correcting the wrongs of the past. It was about justice, about ensuring that the corruption that had seeped into Davidson Corporation was eradicated. Victoria and I decided to delve deeper, to expose the extent of Margaret's influence and hold her accountable. We hired investigators and lawyers, piecing together the puzzle of Margaret's reign over the company. It became clear that her actions were not just driven by personal vendetta, but by a voracious appetite for power and control. Under her leadership, Davidson Corporation had engaged in unethical practices, from embezzlement to bribing officials, all to keep the company under her control and her enemies at bay. Our efforts to clean up the company brought us into the limelight, thrusting us into a world of corporate battles we had previously only touched on the peripheries. The board of directors, once puppets under Margaret's rule, were now split. Some were eager to sweep the past under the rug and move forward, while others, seeing the change in leadership winds, aligned with us, pushing for transparency and restructuring. The media caught wind of our crusade, and soon, Davidson Corporation was making headlines for all the right reasons. Interviews, articles, and news segments portrayed us as the mother-daughter duo taking on corporate giants, fighting to restore integrity to a company mired in corruption. Amidst the public battles, the personal toll on us was immense. Each revelation of Margaret's deceit felt like reopening old wounds. Yet, with each document unearthed, with each corrupt practice brought to light, we grew stronger. Our resolve to reshape Davidson Corporation into a beacon of ethical business practices became our driving force. The climax of our battle came when we called for an extraordinary general meeting with all shareholders. The evidence we presented was irrefutable. Margaret, once a towering figure in the boardroom, found her power waning. Shareholders, many of whom had suffered losses due to her manipulations, voted overwhelmingly in favor of a complete audit and restructuring of the company's governance policies. Margaret, cornered and isolated, fought back with the ferocity of someone who had everything to lose. But the truth was on our side. Legal proceedings were initiated, and the courts found in favor of the evidence we presented. Margaret was ousted from her position, and several of her closest allies faced charges ranging from fraud to insider trading. The aftermath of the legal battles left Davidson Corporation weakened, but not defeated. With Margaret's influence gone, the company had a chance to rebuild, to establish itself on new foundations built on transparency and innovation. I stepped into the role of CEO, a position I accepted with a heavy heart but a clear vision. I was determined to lead the company into a new era, an era where ethics were not just a statement on a paper, but the core of our business practices. Victoria, now a graduate with a degree in business ethics, joined Davidson Corporation's board of directors. Together, we initiated sweeping reforms. We established a robust compliance program, invested in community projects, and redirected the company's focus towards sustainable practices. Our journey from uncovering the deceitful legacy left by Margaret to steering Davidson Corporation towards ethical success was arduous but fulfilling. We not only cleansed the company of its corrupt past, but also set a precedent for other corporations, proving that integrity and success are not mutually exclusive. As I look back at the tangled web of corporate intrigue we navigated, I am reminded of the strength we derived from each other. Victoria and I, through sheer determination and unwavering moral compass, had transformed not just our lives, but that of an entire corporation. The legacy of Davidson Corporation, once tarnished by greed and deceit, was now a testament to the resilience and integrity of those willing to fight for what is right. With Margaret's ouster and the sweeping reforms underway, the stage was set for a new era at Davidson Corporation. As the newly appointed CEO, I felt a tremendous responsibility, not just to our shareholders and employees, but to the legacy I hope to build for my daughter, Victoria. Her involvement in the company, initially born out of necessity to right the wrongs of the past, had evolved into a passionate commitment to change the industry. Victoria joined the company at a pivotal time. Fresh out of university with a degree specializing in business ethics, she brought a fresh perspective that was both needed and welcomed. Her academic prowess combined with her personal experiences of overcoming adversity infused her with a unique blend of compassion and resolve. As we navigated the complexities of restructuring the company, Victoria quickly distinguished herself as a leader. Her approach was not only innovative, but also deeply human-centric. She advocated for policies that prioritized employee well-being, sustainability, and community engagement, setting a new standard for corporate responsibility. Her first major initiative was to overhaul our supply chain practices. Under her guidance, Davidson Corporation committed to fair trade agreements and environmentally sustainable methods of production. These changes were not simple or cost-effective in the short term, but Victoria's vision was focused on long-term sustainability and the ethical implications of our business practices. She also implemented a new training program for all employees, from executives to entry-level workers, emphasizing the importance of ethics in every aspect of our business. Her mantra, "Ethics is not an option, but a necessity," became a new motto that echoed through the halls of our offices. Victoria's leadership style was markedly different from the old guard's. She was approachable, often walking through the offices, engaging with team members at all levels, and fostering a culture of openness and innovation. Under her leadership, employee satisfaction scores soared, and Davidson Corporation began to attract top talent, drawn by our commitment to ethics and innovation. Her strategic initiatives extended beyond internal policies. Victoria spearheaded partnerships with nonprofits and NGOs, launching programs focused on education and community development. These programs not only enhanced our corporate image, but also made real impacts in the communities we served. The transformation of Davidson Corporation under Victoria's leadership did not go unnoticed. Industry peers who once viewed us with skepticism due to past transgressions now looked to us as a model for how businesses could operate successfully while adhering to ethical practices. At the annual industry conference, Victoria was a keynote speaker, where she shared our journey of transformation. Her speech, infused with personal anecdotes and a clear vision for the future of ethical business practices, received a standing ovation. It was a testament to how far we had come and the impact she was making. Victoria's rise was not without challenges. The old ways of doing business were deeply ingrained in some sectors of the industry, and she faced opposition from those who viewed her initiatives as naive or overly idealistic. However, her determination and the results she achieved proved her critics wrong. As I watched her lead with such integrity and passion, I realized that Victoria was not just managing a company. She was leading a movement. She was reshaping what it meant to be a successful enterprise in the modern world. Her strategy was clear. By building a company that valued ethical practices as much as profits, we could influence the entire industry. The crowning moment came when Davidson Corporation was awarded the International Business Ethics Award, recognizing our efforts to redefine corporate ethics. Victoria accepted the award on behalf of the company, her speech echoing her deep belief in the power of ethical leadership. "Today, we are not just celebrating Davidson Corporation's success," she said, holding the award. "We are celebrating the possibility of a new standard in business, one where integrity and success go hand in hand. This is just the beginning." Under her leadership, Davidson Corporation not only recovered from its tarnished past, but also set new benchmarks for the industry. Victoria's vision for a business that operates ethically and successfully became a reality, proving that change starts with the courage to envision a different future and the resolve to pursue it relentlessly. The transformation of Davidson Corporation under Victoria's leadership was not just a corporate success story. It was a personal triumph that echoed the resilience and tenacity of 2 generations. As CEO, I had the privilege of witnessing my daughter grow into a visionary leader who not only drove our company forward, but also set a new ethical compass for the entire industry. Under Victoria's guidance, Davidson Corporation had not only navigated through its turbulent past, but had emerged as a leader in ethical business practices. Her relentless pursuit of integrity and sustainability had reshaped our corporate identity, turning a once-tarnished company into a paragon of corporate responsibility. Victoria's strategies were bold and innovative. She expanded our operations into new, sustainable markets, including renewable energy and eco-friendly technologies. These initiatives weren't just good for the planet, they were good for business. Under her leadership, Davidson's profitability soared, as did our stock price. Investors who were once wary of our troubled past now clamored to be part of our bright future. But the true measure of her success was not just in financial metrics. Victoria had fundamentally shifted the corporate culture at Davidson. Where once short-term gains and aggressive tactics had prevailed, now long-term planning and ethical considerations were the norms. Employees were proud to work for us, knowing that their efforts contributed to a greater good, and our customer base grew, attracted by our reputation for integrity and responsibility. The pinnacle of our transformation came when Davidson Corporation was invited to lead a consortium of businesses committed to sustainable practices. This consortium not only furthered our own goals, but also helped set industry standards for sustainability and ethics. Victoria's leadership was instrumental in this, and her ability to inspire and mobilize others toward a common goal was her greatest strength. As her mother and predecessor, I watched her accept these responsibilities with a blend of humility and confidence that made me profoundly proud. It was clear that Victoria was not just running a business. She was leading a movement, one that would outlast her and inspire the next generation of leaders. Our corporate headquarters, once a symbol of old guard corporate excess, was transformed under her direction. Solar panels now lined the rooftops, Green spaces filled areas once dominated by concrete, and sustainable materials were used throughout our offices. These changes were a tangible manifestation of our commitment to change, each one a victory in its own right. Victoria's success culminated at the Global Business Ethics Summit, where she was honored with the Leader in Sustainability Award. As she stood on the stage, her speech resonated not just with the audience, but with anyone who had followed our journey. Today, as I stand here, I am reminded of the power of resilience and the importance of vision, Victoria addressed the crowd. Davidson Corporation's story is proof that no company is beyond redemption, and no success is unattainable if driven by a commitment to doing what is right. We have shown that ethical business is not only possible, it is profitable, sustainable, and the only way forward in a world that demands we do better. The applause that followed was not just for her, it was for the idea that she represented. That integrity and business success are not mutually exclusive, but are, in fact, mutually reinforcing. Back home, as we watched the coverage of the summit, I realized that our greatest victory was not the accolades or the financial success. It was the knowledge that we had turned our darkest hour into our brightest beacon, lighting the way not just for ourselves, but for all who believed that change was possible. This victory was sweet, not because of the challenges we overcame, but because of the future we were building, a future where Davidson Corporation would continue to lead by example, where Victoria could pass on a legacy of ethical leadership to the next generation, just as I had passed it on to her. As the sun set over the skyline, our office building stood tall, its windows catching the last light of the day. It was more than a corporate headquarters. It was a symbol of hope, a testament to the belief that with integrity, resilience, and a vision for the future, anything was possible.